It was a cold morning, the sky was gray, and the city looked tired. People walked fast on the streets, holding coffee cups, looking at their phones. No one noticed the old man sitting near the corner of 7th Street. His clothes were dirty, his hands were shaking, and his eyes looked empty. His name was Marcus Dean, but nobody knew that. To everyone, he was just another homeless man, someone useless, someone forgotten. He sat on a piece of cardboard with a small sign, "Hungry, please help." Some people looked at him with pity. Others looked away like he didn't exist. A few dropped coins in his cup, but most walked past without a word. Marcus didn't beg, he just sat there, quiet, watching the world move fast without him. Suddenly a police car stopped near him. A young officer stepped out, tall and proud. His name was Officer Jake Miller. He looked at Marcus and laughed. "Hey old man, you can't sit here. Move along," Jake said loudly, so people could hear. Marcus looked up slowly. He didn't speak. "You deaf or just dumb?" Jake smirked. "Get a job, you lazy bum." A small crowd started watching. Some people laughed quietly. A woman looked uncomfortable but didn't say anything. Marcus stayed silent. His face didn't change, but deep in his eyes, something cold moved, something strong, something hidden. Jake kicked the small metal cup. The coins rolled on the sidewalk. "You people are all the same, weak, dirty, no good for this city." Still, Marcus said nothing. Jake walked away laughing. The crowd moved on. Marcus slowly picked up the coins one by one. His hands were old, but steady. After he picked the last coin, he looked at the direction Jake went. "You don't remember me?" Marcus whispered to himself, voice calm but deep. "But I remember you." He stood up slowly. His back hurt. His legs were weak, but his eyes, they were sharp, like a hunter waiting in silence. Years ago, Marcus was not on the streets. He was a Green Beret, a top soldier, a war hero. He had medals, honor, and a mission. He fought in places the world never knew. He completed tasks most people would call impossible, but then something happened. One mission changed everything. A mission that was never in the news. A mission that was supposed to be secret. Someone gave the wrong orders, someone betrayed him, his whole team was lost, and Marcus was blamed. The government turned its back on him. They erased his name, they erased his story. He came back with nothing. No home, no job, no family, no help. They said he had no proof, no records, no truth. Just a broken man with memories no one believed. So he disappeared into the streets, into silence. But he never forgot. Now, after all these years, he saw a face from the past. Officer Jake Miller, younger now, stronger. But Marcus remembered that face. He was there back then, in the shadows, not a soldier, but part of something else. Marcus didn't have full answers yet, but he knew this. Jake was not just a cop, he was part of the lie. That night, Marcus sat under a bridge. Cold wind touched his skin. He opened an old metal box he kept hidden in his bag. Inside were only 3 things: a photo of his team, a torn map with red circles, a folded paper with one word written in bold: "Mission continues." He looked at the photo. His eyes watered, but he didn't cry. He had no more tears left. "I couldn't save you," he whispered, "but I will find the truth. I will finish what we started." He added a new name to the map, Jake Miller, and he circled it with a black pen. The next morning, Marcus was back at the same street corner. But this time, he wasn't just a homeless man. He was watching, listening, waiting. A small boy gave him a sandwich. Marcus smiled and nodded. "Thank you, son." The boy asked, "Are you a soldier, Mr.?" Marcus looked at him for a second and said softly, "I was, long ago." The boy ran back to his mother. Marcus watched them disappear in the crowd, and then his eyes turned serious again, because this time he was not just surviving. He had a plan, he had a purpose, and the city had no idea what was coming. Night had fallen again. The city lights were bright, but Marcus sat in the dark corner of an alley, far from the busy streets. His back rested against a cold brick wall. He didn't sleep. He couldn't, not with memories that still burned like fire. He closed his eyes, and the past came rushing back. 10 years ago, ... The desert was hot. The air smelled like dust and gunpowder. Marcus was in his army uniform, leading a team of 5 soldiers. They were all strong, loyal, and brave. His team called him Cap with respect. They were on a secret mission in a foreign land. No one knew where they were, not even their families. They had orders from someone high up. A simple task, they said. Go in, collect information, come out. But it wasn't simple. It was a trap. The building exploded. 2 men died instantly. Gunshots echoed through the valley. Marcus and the rest fought to escape. Blood, smoke, pain. He saw his best friend fall. He held him in his arms as he died. Marcus made it out alive. Barely. He called for help, but no one answered. The base didn't respond. The plane never came. After 2 days in the wild, he walked alone through the sand, carrying 1 wounded soldier on his back. When he finally returned to base, he was not welcomed as a hero. Instead, he was met with silence. The betrayal man in a suit sat across from him in the debriefing room. "We never sent you on that mission, Captain Dean," the man said coldly. "What are you talking about?" Marcus shouted. You gave the orders. There are no records, no witnesses, no files. Your team went rogue, and now they're dead. This is on you." Marcus was shocked. His heart broke. They erased everything. His team's names, the mission files, the truth. They told the world he had gone mad, that he couldn't be trusted. They took his rank, his honor, his home. "Leave quietly," the man said, "or face court." He had no choice. Back to present, Marcus opened his eyes in the dark alley. His face was still, but inside, pain boiled. He pulled out an old photo from his coat. It showed his team smiling, arms around each other, all gone now, except him. "I'm sorry," he whispered to the photo, "but I'm still here, and I haven't forgotten a name from the past." He remembered something. During the mission brief, there was a name mentioned. Not a soldier, but a contact. Jake Miller. At that time, just a young army assistant. Not important, not powerful, but he was there, in the background. And now, he was a police officer. Clean record, good image. But Marcus felt it in his bones. Jake was hiding something. Maybe Jake wasn't alone. Maybe others were part of it too. He had to find out. The visit the next day, Marcus walked for miles until he reached the edge of the city. There was a small junkyard, rusted cars, broken machines, and a guard dog that barked loudly, but the dog stopped when Marcus stepped forward. A man came out of a small shed. He was tall, with a limp in his leg. His hair was gray, his face rough. "Marcus," he said with surprise. "Hello, Eddie," Marcus replied. Eddie was an old army mechanic, a quiet man but loyal. He once owed his life to Marcus during war. They sat down and talked. Marcus told him everything. The street, the cop, the photo, the betrayal, the mission. Eddie listened. Then he stood up and opened a secret box under the floor. When inside was a dusty file. "I kept this," Eddie said. "Didn't know why. Maybe I was waiting for you." Marcus opened the file. His hands shook slightly. It had pages from the old mission, maps, codes. One paper had a list of names. Some were dead. Some were still alive. And there it was. Jake Miller, logistics assistant status, confidential handler. Marcus stared at the name. "You were part of it," he said softly. "You helped send us there." A new mission. Marcus stood at the junkyard gate, holding the file. "You'll be careful, right?" Eddie asked. Not. Marcus looked at him. "I'm not here for revenge," he said. "I'm here for the truth." He started walking back toward the city. With each step, his body felt heavy, but his mind was clear. They tried to bury him, but now he was digging up the past, one name at a time. It was early morning. The city was just waking up. People rushed to work, cars honked, and street vendors opened their stalls. But Marcus Dean wasn't watching the crowd. He was watching one man officer, Jake Miller, from behind a broken bus shelter. Marcus observed him. Jake stood near his patrol car, talking and laughing with another officer. He looked relaxed, proud, like a man with no secrets. But Marcus knew the truth. Jake was not innocent. Watching and waiting for the past 3 days, Marcus had followed Jake, quietly, carefully. He saw where he lived, a small house in a clean neighborhood. He saw who he met, mostly cops, some local shopkeepers, and once a man in a black car who didn't belong. That man didn't smile. He handed Jake a brown envelope. Marcus noticed everything, every face, every move. He didn't want to attack, not yet. He wanted answers, and he knew how to get them. The mistake on the 4th day. Jake noticed something that as he stepped into a small coffee shop, he looked across the street. He saw a shadow move quickly behind a wall. His smile faded. "Did someone just," he muttered. He stepped outside, looking around. Nothing, just people, a street dog, a few kids running still. Something didn't feel right. He pulled out his phone and made a call. "Yeah, it's me. I think someone's watching. I don't know who, but I've got that feeling again." The person on the other end told him to stay calm. But Jake was nervous now, and nervous people make mistakes. A message from the past. That night, Jake arrived home. He locked his door, turned on the lights, and dropped his bag on the table. But something was different. The window was slightly open. He walked over slowly, and then he saw it, a small envelope placed neatly on his kitchen counter. His face turned white, hands shaking. He opened it. Inside was a photo, a black and white army photo. 5 soldiers smiling. One of them was Marcus. And on the back of the photo, in bold letters, "Do you remember what you did?" Jake dropped the photo. His heart raced. He backed away from the counter like he had seen a ghost. He ran to his drawer, pulled out his gun, but no one was in the house, just fear. The confession begins the next day. Marcus sat under the same bridge where he often stayed. A small fire warmed his hands. His face was calm, but his mind was planning. A young man walked past and nodded. Marcus nodded back. He opened his notebook and added a line. "Fear is working," he remembers. Suddenly a voice came from behind. "Why are you doing this?" Marcus didn't turn around. He already knew who it was. Jake stood there wearing plain clothes, no uniform, no badge. "You think scaring me will fix anything?" Jake asked. His voice was low, but his eyes were full of panic. Marcus spoke slowly. "I don't want to scare you, Jake. I want the truth." "There is no truth. You're just a crazy old man who can't let go of the past." Marcus stood up. "I remember that mission. You were part of the setup. You gave us the wrong intel." Jake's face tightened. "I was following orders. So was I, but my team died. There was silence. The wind blew through the bridge, cold and sharp. They told me it was a test. Jake finally said. They said it wasn't real, just training. I didn't know people would die. Marcus stepped closer. You knew something. You kept your mouth shut. And 5 good men were buried. Jake looked away. He couldn't meet Marcus's eyes. I didn't come here to fight you, Jake said. I came here to warn you. Warn me. They know you're alive. And they don't want the past coming back. Bigger secrets. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Who are they? Jake hesitated. People higher than you and me. People who never wanted you to return. That brown file you have, they're looking for it. If they find you, they won't. Ask questions. Marcus nodded slowly. Let them come. You don't understand. This isn't just about you anymore, Jake said. They think I'm helping you now. They'll come after me too. Marcus turned his back and sat down. Again, then you'd better decide who you want to be, Jake. The man who followed orders, or the man who finally told the truth. Jake didn't say anything. He walked away into the darkness. The next target later that night, Marcus opened the file again. He looked at the list of names. He circled another name and read. One step at a time, he whispered, because this was not over. This was only the beginning. And now he was not alone. The city looked normal. People moved with smiles, cars passed, and children played in parks. But deep beneath the surface, something dark was waking up. A forgotten truth. A story no one wanted to hear. And Marcus Dean was about to uncover it all. An old friend, a new light. Marcus walked slowly through an industrial area outside the city. It was quiet here. Broken buildings, rusty signs, and garbage blowing. In the wind, he stopped in front of an old repair garage. The metal door opened with a loud creak. Inside stood Eddie, his old army friend. Grayer now, but strong. Did you bring the file? Eddie asked. Nodded. He handed over the folder, thick with old documents and photos. Eddie placed it on a steel table and opened it. This, Eddie said, tapping the papers. This is dangerous. That's why I need your help, Marcus replied. I need to know what's real, and what's been erased. The hidden truth for us. Eddie studied the file. He had once worked in army intelligence. He knew how to read between lines. He knew where to look. Look here, Eddie pointed. These codes, they're not just random mission numbers. They connect to secret operations. And look at this name called Randall Pierce. He's at the top of all these documents. Marcus's eyes narrowed. I remember that name. He was the one who signed our mission orders. Then disappeared when everything went wrong. Exactly, Eddie said. And now, he's not in the system. No rank, no job. It's like he never existed. Eddie turned to the last page, a photo, 6 men in suits, standing together. Jake Miller was one of them. Carl Pierce was in the center, and a third man, unfamiliar but with a deep scar across his face, stood close. They planned everything, Eddie said. Your mission, the cover-up, even your fall. Marcus sat quietly. They buried my team like garbage, he whispered, and they erased me like I never mattered. The decision. Eddie locked the file inside a safe. What will you do now? He asked. Finish what I started, Marcus said, standing up. But this time I won't go in blind. I need the world to see the truth. That means going public, yes, but smartly. The package that night. Marcus sat under a broken streetlight with a brown envelope in his hand. Inside it was a copy of the file, a USB drive with voice recordings, and a letter he wrote. My name is Marcus Dean. I was a Green Beret. I was betrayed. This is my proof. He sealed the envelope and addressed it to Lena Morris, an investigative journalist known for exposing corrupt systems. If I don't make it, Marcus said, she'll finish it. He handed the envelope to a street boy he trusted. Take this. Drop it at this office. No questions. The boy nodded and ran off into the dark. The trapped 2 days later, Jake Miller met Marcus again, this time in a hidden alley behind an old bakery. Jake looked tired, pale, nervous. They know, he said. They know you have the file. And they know I warned you. Then they'll come for both of us, Marcus said calmly. They already have a plan tonight. I overheard it. They're sending someone, a cleaner. Marcus took a deep breath. Let them come. You don't get it, Jake whispered. This guy isn't just any hitman. His name is Vance Crowe, ex-Black Ops. He erases people without leaving a trace. He was on your mission 10 years ago. To Marcus's eyes turned cold. I remember him, the man with the scar. Jake nodded. Yes, and now he's coming to finish the job. Midnight approaches. Back at Eddie's garage, Marcus checked his gear. He didn't have much, just an old army knife, a walkie-talkie, and a sharp mind. He wasn't fighting for revenge. He was fighting for the truth, for his team, for the ones who were buried and forgotten. As midnight came close, the wind grew stronger. The shadows seemed darker. Eddie stood by the door with a shotgun. You sure you want to do this? I've waited 10 years. I'm not running now. The first shot at 12:04 a.m. The silence broke. A loud crack echoed through the junkyard. Eddie ducked. Marcus grabbed his knife. A man in black moved between cars, silent and fast. Vance Crowe. Marcus knew this was it. The past was no longer in the shadows. It was here. It was armed. It was coming for him. The junkyard was silent again. The gunshot had stopped everything. Marcus and Eddie crouched behind a rusted car. The night was dark, but they knew someone was out there. Vance Crow, the man with the scar, the ghost from Marcus's past. Sit low, Marcus whispered. Eddie nodded, gripping the shotgun tightly. They could hear footsteps slow. Calm, dangerous. Vance wasn't in a hurry. He liked fear. He liked to hunt. A ghost returns. Marcus peeked between the metal gaps. He saw him, dressed in black, moving like a shadow, holding a silenced gun. Vance hadn't changed much. His face was older, but the scar still ran down his cheek like a warning. I know you're here, soldier, Vance called out in a cold voice. You should have stayed buried. Marcus didn't answer. He moved silently, like he was back in war. He signaled Eddie to move toward the back exit, but then another shot. It hit the ground inches from Marcus's foot. Vance smiled. You were always fast, Marcus, but I was always smarter. The escape. Marcus ran through old car frames, broken machines, piles of junk. His heart pounded, but not from fear. From focus. Vance followed, silent but deadly. Marcus turned sharply, climbed over a fence, and dropped onto a back street. Eddie met him there, breathless. You okay? No, Marcus said. But I'm alive. They ran down alleyways, through backyards, staying in the dark. Vance was behind them, always close, always calm. Marcus knew he wasn't just being chased, he was being tested. The callous. They hid behind a dumpster. Marcus pulled out an old phone. He dialed a number. After a few rings, a woman's voice answered. This is Lena. Did you get the package? Marcus asked. A short silence. Yes, she said. I read everything. I believe you. I'm working on the story now. You have to hurry, Marcus said. They've sent someone. A killer. If I don't make it, don't stop. Where are you? She asked. No time. Just listen. Send the story to everyone. Newspapers, internet, everywhere. I will, she promised. Marcus ended the call. He knew he might not live to see the truth come out, but it was already in motion. Into the city. Marcus and Eddie moved back into the city, blending with the crowd. The morning rush had started. People walked with coffee cups and phones in their hands. No one noticed two tired men walking fast, looking over their shoulders. But Marcus noticed him. Vance across the street, watching. He's not stopping, Eddie said. He never does, Marcus replied, but we won't stop either. They took a sharp turn into a subway station. Underground tension. The train was packed. Marcus and Eddie stood near the door. Sweat ran down their faces. They had no weapons, now just instincts. Vance entered the same train, just a few coaches away. His eyes locked with Marcus's for a split second. Marcus whispered to Eddie, next stop, we run. Don't look back. The train screeched to a halt. Doors opened. They bolted. A hidden alley just outside the station. A black car pulled up. A woman stepped out. Get in, she shouted. It was Lena Morris, the journalist. Marcus and Eddie jumped in. The car sped away. You followed me, Marcus said. I had to, Lena replied. Your story matters. But they're tracking you. You don't have much time. We know, Marcus said. One last thing. We need to find a man called Randall Pierce. He started all of this. Lena looked shocked. I've heard that name. He's not in the system anymore. Rumor says he runs something big now. Private security. Hidden, dangerous. Marcus leaned back in the seat. Then that's where we go next. A warning at a nearby rooftop. Vance stood, watching the car disappear. He took out a phone and made a call. He escaped, Vance said, but he has help now. The journalist too, the voice on the other end replied coldly. Then you know what to do next. Yes, Vance said, eyes sharp. Finish it. A moment of peace that night. Marcus sat in Lena's small apartment, looking out the window. He thought about his team. Their faces, their laughter, their trust. I couldn't save you, he whispered, but I'll make sure the world remembers you. He looked at Lena, typing on her laptop. Are you ready for this? He asked. She nodded. This story will break everything. The sun had not risen yet. Dark clouds filled the sky over the city, and everything felt quiet. Too quiet. It was the kind of silence that comes before a storm. Inside a small apartment, Marcus Dean sat near the window. His body was tired, but his heart was steady. He had waited 10 years for this moment. Next to him, Lena Morris, the journalist, was finishing her final edits. The story is ready, she said. Once I hit publish, the world will know everything. Marcus nodded slowly. Do it, he said. She pressed the button. The truth was now free. The world reacts within minutes. The news began to spread. Ex-Green Beret tells ALL secret mission cover-up exposed army betrayal. Marcus Dean's story goes viral. Who is Colonel Randall Pierce? People everywhere were reading, sharing, and questioning. Police stations, army bases, and government offices. Alarms went off. Phones rang non-stop. The truth was out and those in power were afraid. The enemy moves in a dark room far away. Randall Pierce stared at the news article on his screen. His face was tight with anger. He's still alive, he said. And now the world knows. A man stepped beside him. It was Vance Crow, the silent killer. What are your orders? Pierce looked at him with cold eyes. End this tonight. Make sure Marcus Dean disappears forever. Vance gave a small nod and left. The The final warning Marcus knew they would come. He packed only what he needed, the original file, a photo of his team and his army dog tags. He turned to Lena. "You need to leave," he said. "No," she replied. "I'm not leaving you alone. This isn't your fight, it is now." Suddenly, a loud crash shook the building. The lights flickered. "They're here," Marcus whispered. The attack vans and two men in black kicked the door open. Bullets flew. Marcus grabbed Lena and pulled her behind the couch. Glass shattered. Sparks flew. Eddie, waiting on the rooftop across the street with a hunting rifle, fired a warning shot. "Go now," he shouted through a walkie-talkie. Marcus and Lena rushed down the back stairs. Vans followed close behind. The final chase through dark alleys, over fences, across rooftops they ran. Marcus led the way, heart pounding, legs burning. Lena struggled to keep up, but she didn't stop. Vance never lost sight of them. He moved like a shadow, quiet, fast, deadly dot. Finally, Marcus stopped in an old parking lot, the place where it all began. "I'm done running," he said. "It ends here." The showdown van stepped out from the dark, gun in hand, scar shining under the streetlight. "You should have stayed dead, Marcus." "I died once," Marcus said. "That man is gone. What's left now is justice." They fought, no guns, just fists, knives and fury. Two trained warriors, one battle. Blood fell, bones cracked. But Marcus didn't stop, not this time. Not when the truth was. Finally, in the light, with one final move, Marcus disarmed Vance and brought him to the ground. "It's over," he said, breathless. Vance looked up at him. "You're too late. Pierce will disappear again. You can't catch him." But Marcus smiled. "You're wrong. The world already has his name. Justice at last by morning." The video of Marcus fighting Vance went viral. Police arrested several high-level officers. Protests began. Reporters chased every detail. Lena's story was everywhere. Col. Pierce was found hiding in a private island and arrested. Marcus's name was cleared. His team's sacrifice was finally known. Their names were honored, medals returned. Families wept. A new dawn. Weeks later, Marcus stood at a quiet memorial garden. 5 small flags marked the names of his fallen brothers. He placed the photo of his team on the stone. "We did it," he whispered. "You're not forgotten anymore." Lena stood beside him. "What will you do now?" Marcus looked at the rising sun, live for them. He walked away slowly, dog tags in hand, head held high. He was no longer the broken man on the sidewalk. He was a hero reborn.